Let's do it. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Coming up here on the show, a lot of good news continues to roll in for the Niners coming out of mandatory minicamp. But let's begin with this. Do you love this football team? Do you love the San Francisco 49ers? If you do, be sure to lock us in and hit that subscribe button. You see it right down there. Join the movement. We have more than 162,000 people worldwide who have hit that sub button here on the channel. And when I talk Niners, I want all of our content to be informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking. I want you to have a voice. I want you to stay in the know with this football club. So if all that sounds good, hit that subscribe button right now. A lot of positive news for San Francisco coming out of mandatory minicamp and during mandatory minicamp. The Niners on the practice field on Tuesday and Wednesday, a perfect attendance, and the vibes around this team so much different than they were this time last year. And Christian McCaffrey being healthy is a huge part of that. Here's what CMC said, the 2023 Offensive Player of the Year, about how he's been dealing with his injury and how he feels right now. Quote, "I feel great. I think this offseason I spent a lot of time rebuilding back a base, starting from scratch. So a lot of it was rehab. And I wanted to put myself in a position where I didn't miss a day of OTAs and I could practice and play football again. Be healthy and not miss a day." I did that. Indeed, he did. Christian McCaffrey was on hand for every OTA practice and every mandatory minicamp practice. And I'm not too worried about how CMC looks right now as we approach the midway point of June. I want to see him continue to get ramped up, and I'll judge how CMC looks when we see him in the preseason, when we see him in the regular season, when the bullets are flying. And as we know, CMC is so meaningful to this team. Since the Niners traded for him in 2022, when he's been on the field, this offense has been one of the highest performing units in the National Football League. Kyle Shanahan has utilized him in a beautiful way, and CMC has played tremendous ball. He's one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. He impacts the run and pass game. He can run in between the tackles. He can get out to the perimeter. He can catch passes out of the backfield. He can line up as a slot because he's a really good route runner. Probably learned a thing or two from his pops, Ed McCaffrey. Anytime he gets his hands on the rock, he's a home run threat to take it to the house. On red zone and on third downs, in particular last year, the Niners really missed him there. And I think that he's going to be able to help San Francisco in those money areas. And he's been a safety valve for Brock Purdy. When Purdy goes through his progressions and nobody is open, he knows oftentimes he can dump it off to McCaffrey. When the blitz is coming, he knows that if McCaffrey is flanked to his left or his right, that McCaffrey's going to be able to provide some blocking protection for him. Of course, a big concern is the injury history and the injuries last year. Bilateral Achilles tendonitis, a knee injury, sometimes at that running back spot. You can go from being great to washed overnight. And last year, McCaffrey was a little bit slow. But was that because of the Achilles tendonitis in both legs? Yeah, probably played a role in that. There has been a little bit of a theme here with CMC. First 3 years in the NFL, he was durable, didn't miss a game. Then he had 2 years back-to-back in which he played 10 games total. 2 more years of being durable, and then last year, missed a lot of time. Hopefully this year, he is healthy for the Niners. The positive sign is that he's healthy right now. Another positive note, Trent Williams is back with the Niners. He is ready for the 2025 campaign, and he is hungry to flush what happened last year. Just like Christian McCaffrey is vital to this offense, so is Trent Williams. McCaffrey, one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. Trent Williams, still arguably the best left tackle in the game, even though he's going to be 37 years old this summer. And Williams was asked about potentially retiring, and he said this: "I would love to play until I'm 40. I would love to make it into that special group, but if it's not in the cards, it's not in my cards. I'm going to do everything physically possible. I'm going to stay engaged." It's one of those things where I'm going to do everything possible to play as long as I can and put a good product of football out there, and then when it's not going my way, then I'll know. But I could play until I'm 41. Who knows? That is a goal of mine. Definitely not going to retire with some left in the tank. He also said that if he comes to a decision to retire, he's going to let the Niners know early in the offseason so that they can plan by way of the draft and in free agency. Trent Williams in 2024 did only play 10 games. He dealt with that nagging ankle injury. And while he wasn't himself, which is hard to reach because that's a Hall of Fame tackle right there, he was still very, very good. Graded out well, according to Pro Football Focus. 6th overall grade among 140 tackles at 85.6. His pass blocking grade of 84.5 ranked 9th. His run blocking grade was 8th at 81.4. Some of the negatives here, he did have 5 penalties in 10 games. That was 77th. He gave up 3 hits. That ranked 82nd. And then he gave up 17 pressures of Brock Purdy. That was 77th. But he was a little bit fatigued coming off that Super Bowl run and that shorter offseason, and he was dealing with that injury. Number 3, look, the Niners are just a better team than they were in 2024. And I think that San Francisco can go from worst to first because of these reasons. The coaching staff is so much better. I expect Kyle Shanahan to rebound. Robert Saleh over Nick Sorensen? Are you kidding me? Brant Boyer over Brian Schneider? I'll take it. So this coaching staff will improve, leading to better results. I also think the Niners will be healthier. Why? It's going to be hard to top them being so injury-plagued like they were a year ago. They also have the easiest schedule in the NFL based upon Vegas forecasted win totals and combined winning percentages for teams last year. And their defense and special teams, it's been rebuilt. I think this Niners team is going to be younger, faster, and hungrier. This offseason, in the draft specifically, the Niners put a huge emphasis on stopping the run. Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Nick Martin, Upton Stout. Those are big upgrades there. All of those players have a history of being better against the run, and that has been a weakness for San Francisco. The Niners' defensive line is better than they were last year. So many upgrades along that front. Are they younger? For sure, but they're more talented. And these rookies will give this defensive line some serious juice. So too will Bryce Huff in giving this defensive line juice and helping out Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa hasn't had help, legitimate help, in a little while. Now he has that with the player like Michael Williams. He has that with the player opposite of him in Bryce Huff. But even Alfred Collins and C.J. West are going to be able to move quarterbacks off their spot, and hopefully Bosa is on the receiving end of a couple of easy sacks. Robert Saleh is going to help this defense immensely. Coaching, making changes, being able to adapt and evolve, being able to make in-season and in-game adjustments. Nick Sorensen was in over his skis. Brant Boyer is a I don't take any BS type of special teams coach. Brian Schneider was not that way. And I think that Boyer, given his history as well, is going to be able to elevate this unit. This Niners offense will also be faster, and I think that they can rebound from a down year last year. Jordan Watkins, 4.3 speed. Jacob Cowing, 4.4 guy. Ricky Pearsall, he can move. Demarcus Robinson, more than 16 yards per catch. Isaac Orendo, 4.3 speed. So you have the OGs in George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, but you have some of this new blood too. And yes, I understand the concerns that the Niners will be younger, but they have an easier schedule. These young players have better coaching, and I think that will help ease that learning curve. So it's prediction time here on the show. I think the Niners will be better than they were last year, and I think this roster has really improved. How many games will the Niners win in 2025? Join the conversation down in the comment section. I think they go from 6-11 to 11-6. This Niners shirt, thanks to our friends at Fanatics, is on sale right now. It was $40. You can get it for $28. Limited time only. Nike shirt, print with the Crescent Niners logo. Get it today at chatsports.com/SF shirt. You use that link. It takes you to Fanatics. You get that deal, and then Fanatics knows that Chat Sports, Chase Sr., and the 49ers report sent you. Number 4, coming out of mandatory minicamp. I mentioned it earlier, but Nick Bosa finally has some legitimate help. Bryce Huff is the best pass rusher that Bosa will have played with in his entire Niners career because D4 never played. Robert Saleh knows ball. He said this about Huff. Speed off the edge is what stands out to me about Huff. I think highly of him as a pass rusher. I thought that he was very productive, obviously, with the Jets. He wins at such a high rate. A lot of times we look at pass rushers, we look at sacks, and sacks are important. They end drives, and it's what ultimately gets these guys paid. But his disruption rate and getting the quarterback off the spot and the way that he can do it, he is a second effort pass rusher, but he wins so quickly and so often that coordinators have to account for his presence on the field. He just wasn't a scheme fit for Philadelphia. He is a perfect scheme fit for San Francisco, which is why I called this trade all the way back in March. The receipts are there. In 2024, even though Huff had a down year analytically, he's still ranked 10th in pass rush win rate at 24% on true pass sets. That was above Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is the top 5 highest paid pass rusher in the game right now. Will Anderson is going to make a bag here soon. That was also higher than Eric Armstead, who's making a lot more money than Bryce Huff. 94% of the time, the Eagles used him on the left side. Saleh split him. The versatility helps him. In 2023, under Saleh, Bryce Huff was 7th in the NFL in pass rush productivity, more efficient per snap than Nick Bosa, Trey Hendrickson, and Max Crosby. He was also 3rd in pass rush win rate at 22.9%. Bryce Huff wins. Is he a little bit shorter? Yeah, he's a little bit shorter. But Bosa is this strong, hulking defensive end who has an endless bag of pass rush moves. He is a student of the game. To complement him, to have the speed option, it's just going to help elevate and help out Nick Bosa. And then at number 5, I think that Brandon Aiyuk is getting in line. At least that's what we can hope. I don't like the dramatics of taking to social media to voice him not being happy with the Niners and him continuing to be unpleasant. But something interesting happened at practice on Wednesday. And we talked about this on our minicamp winners and losers video. But these 3 players, these 3 Niners greats, these 3 Hall of Fame caliber guys, we're talking to Brandon Aiyuk, Terrell Owens, Frank Gore, and Patrick Willis. If there are 3 guys who can help out BA and get out of this weird funk that he's been in, 3 pretty big voices, presences, and personalities right there. Now, they're all different. Frank Gore and Patrick Willis were silent. They weren't noisy. They weren't loud like T.O., but T.O. can relate to Brandon Aiyuk in being unhappy and being a dramatic wide receiver, and then Gore and Willis can kind of help balance that out. I like that approach. Now, I can't imagine being unhappy after getting $76 million in guaranteed money and $30 million per year. If Brandon Aiyuk didn't want to play with the Niners, why did he sign that deal? But hopefully he can shake out of this, and hopefully he can turn it around, because we're talking about an all-pro caliber wide receiver here. And John Lynch did say on the Pat McAfee show on Thursday, Aiyuk is a huge part of what we do, and hopefully he can get healthy and be a part of that. As for Kyle Shanahan, I think he's a winner throughout offseason activities. And this is what I mean by that. The Super Bowl hangover is gone. There is no contract drama with this team right now. Everybody was in attendance, perfect attendance at mandatory minicamp, and the energy has been renewed. The vibes are positive. And I think that's great, because everybody was kind of feeling that dark cloud last year. Man, talking about Niners football, I'm looking ahead to a month from now about when training camp gets underway. I can't wait. If you're excited for the Niners 2025 season, type those 4 9s in the chat. Do that right now.